In this video, I'm going to share with you how I hit and exceeded my quota 13 years in a row and retired from corporate sales by 35 using what I call the M5. It's a way to hack your best self and to tap into your maximum potential. Hey, I'm Marcus Chan, founder of Venly Consulting Group, in which we provide modern sales training and coaching for teams and individuals to help you become the elite sales pro you've dreamed of. Now, the M5 is something I usually only teach my highest level individual clients that pay me up to $25,000 to learn how to 2, 3, 4, or even 5x their sales income and their life. But you're in luck because I'm going to share with you this today and I'm holding absolutely nothing back. And you'll see in a second that this is the full presentation that I go in heavy detail of what it is and clear examples. I was recorded at my good friend Ian Koniak's private mastermind as Lakeside Property at Lake Arrowhead. All the people in the audience paid up to $25K to be there as well. And you're going to be able to see the entire presentation for free. Now, my only ask of you is just hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And of course, if you stay at the very end of this killer presentation, you'll even hear me share my investment strategy that led to my early retirement. Enjoy.
All right, cool. Ian, thank you very much. Who here has ever felt the same way Ian is to this morning? Woke up, I'm not worthy. Yes, right? How about I'm an imposter? How about can I really do this? How about maybe I just got lucky in the past? Maybe I got the lucky territory, lucky opportunity. I don't deserve this, right? Me too. These are thoughts that plague all of us, as you can tell. And what's really interesting is when we all wake up, who wakes up and says, I hope I feel this way? Anyone say that? Anybody? No. Instead, what are you really hoping you wake up and feel like? Shout it out. What do you feel? What do you want? What do you want to feel? Amazing. Run through a wall. Inspired. Energized. Invigorate. Oh, I like invigorates, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about the M5, how to hack your best self. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes when people, they hear me speak, they see me, what I am today, they don't realize where I started. They don't realize the background. They don't realize I've been at this game for almost 2 decades of trying to be the best version of myself and failing forward, all right? So before I go into the M5 hacking your best self, I want to give you a little context. Some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't, but I'm the middle child of 2 immigrants, Chinese and Taiwanese. They came to America with absolutely nothing. I grew up very poor. Now, as most Chinese families do that come from other countries, we started a Chinese restaurant, all right? And there's no better labor than child labor at that point. That's a reality. At the age of 5, no kidding, I'm already working in the restaurant at the age of 5. I'm literally in the back, I'm chopping mushrooms, I'm peeling shrimp, I'm peeling onions. I would literally go be pouring water at the tables, all for the best price of free, right? Parents love that, Asian parents especially. Now, so I grew up working pretty hard. Like working 20, 40 hours a week was pretty normal at that age. That was just part of life. You get off school, you go to the restaurant, and you're like cutting chicken in the back, right? And that's part of life. So I grew up scared of being poor because every day I worried that we'd go broke. Every month we had a rough month. When people would hold the restaurant with a gun and steal money from the cash register, I literally worried we'd shut the restaurant and we had to live on the streets. Or my parents tell me stories of communist China and I worry about having to like go there and live there. So this is part of my life growing up. Now, on top of this, I didn't start speaking until I was 4 years old. I had a speech impediment as well. I couldn't really speak English, Mandarin Chinese, or Cantonese. So what was interesting was, because of that, when you can't communicate, first of all, who has kids here? Anybody? So if your kid's 4 years old and doesn't speak, are you a little bit worried? 100%. And of course, my parents' English was not strong enough to understand how to deal with this problem. You couldn't like Google stuff back then. You couldn't find resources, so they're kind of like, there's something wrong with this kid. So growing up, that's what I thought. So I remember going to speech therapy classes. I remember almost getting held back. I was nobody special. I share that with you because eventually over time, I figured it out. And actually, if you listen carefully, you'll still hear the impediment come out. It still comes out, even to this day. And what's interesting is, so I grew up working really hard, and eventually fast forward a little bit. I don't want to tell you my whole story. That's not the point of it. I go into B2B sales in 2007, right? And fortunately, I learned about grinding and working hard. That's kind of like the nature of the business. I was like, this is just what we do. I'm used to this now. So I started for a company. It was a Fortune 500 company that had a startup division in Oregon. They're like, hey, if you work hard, you'll be successful. Who's ever been told that? It's a numbers game. It's an activity game. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm a grinder. I got this. I'll outwork everybody. And I had some other internships in the past. I've done pretty well because I just worked really hard and it kind of worked out. So my belief was hard work equals success. So I go into this role. This is June 2007. And this is against my parents' wishes, by the way, because this is the lowest paying job because it was B2B sales. And I was like, I think there's upside for this. I go into this role. And guess what? I was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I outworked everybody for 7 weeks straight. Other people were kind of closing some deals, but I didn't close a single deal. And I started getting really stressed. I said, I hate my boss. Who's ever said that? My boss doesn't support me. Who's ever said that? I have bad territory. I had 4 zip codes, okay? There was no real training. My boss had never done a job before. There wasn't even PMF. It was like they were bleeding red, like, good luck. If this fail, if we keep bleeding red in a year, you're all fired. That's our motivational speech we had. But hold on. I was given the gift of a manual written by people who had never done sales before. That was amazing. Who's ever had that happen? Hey, you're like, this should make sense. It was written from 1983. Great. So that's kind of what it was all about. Now, 7 weeks in, I'm stressed. I'm getting no real guidance. People say, work hard, be patient. Well, can you really work hard and be patient when you have bills to pay, when you're stressed, and then your boss says, hey, come to my office Friday at 4 o'clock? Never a good conversation, right? So I got threatened to be fired. You don't turn us around, I have to fire you. Now, at this point, I was already really stressed. And there was a level of shame that was happening because I'm like, okay, what's going to potentially happen, right? I'm going to get fired, and then I'm going to have to move back home to my parents' house. They were already ashamed of me of going into sales. Now I'm basically validating going against their choice. And on top of that, like, I was dating this girl, getting really serious. I'm in love. I want to propose and get a ring and do that stuff. But guess what? That stuff takes what? Money. Money I didn't have. So I'm super stressed. And on top of that, her parents she's Persian. They have very high expectations. So they're kind of like, this dude that's in sales, and now I'm about to get fired. So there's this level of internal pressure that I was creating. Who's ever felt that? Right? And by the way, it still happens to this day, right? So we're all human. And that's how I felt. And I was really, really stressed. Now, fast forward, I eventually figured it out, okay? And I stayed in my corporate sales career for 13 years. I worked for 2 major Fortune 500 companies, and I was pretty fortunate. I did okay. I actually ended up exceeding my quota 13 years in a row, 100 and 250%. In the first 8 years, I was promoted 12 different times, okay? I got to the point where by the time I was 31, I had a sales org of 85 employees. We delivered 150 million in sales. And life was pretty good. And eventually, fast forward, did really well in that role. Life was going great, continued to scale that up. And Ian and I are very similar in we talk about wealth building and all these things. Because I grew up so poor, I'm a little cheap, I'm frugal, if you will. Fiscally responsible is a better term I like to say, right? My wife says I'm cheap, I'm like, I'm fiscally responsible. Fiscally responsible. So anyways, put ourselves in a position where we can start our own business, just like Ian, right? Start our own business, right? Did that at 35 and go all in. And like, even if we didn't make any money for like years, and even with our monthly burn, that's important. Know my monthly burn, how much we spend, not worry, and just be stress-free. Still take the number of vacations we did, still do the stuff we wanted to do, still go out to eat, still do everything we enjoyed, right? And be able to maintain, right? And I share these things not to impress you, but to impress upon you the reason we were able to do it was, yeah, I got better at sales, but I focused on the M5. The M5 is the principle I'm going to teach you today. And I'm going to teach you guys step by step each of these things, but what's going to happen is some of you might be a little skeptical, so I want you to embrace this with an open mind, okay? And the M5 is how you show up as your best self, not just at work and not just at home, but to be harmonious in your life, all right? So you don't have to be like, I need to be like daytime Nathan and then evening Nathan, right? You don't want that. You don't want to be like, all right, here's work Brandon, here's evening Brandon. Don't like that. That's inauthentic to yourself, right? Would that be okay if I teach you guys this? Yeah? You guys like that? Okay, cool. So before I teach you that, little teaser, I do have to teach you two sub-principles. Because if you don't internalize these two sub-principles, it's going to be really hard for you to implement not just the M5, but actually everything you've learned this weekend so far. All right, so first off, and by the way, I go hard, I go fast, so if you have questions, just raise your hand, all right? That's my style. You know, I wake up like this, right? There's something wrong with it, some people tell me, but I'm blessed, okay? So, all right, key principle number one. Who's ever heard of the belief triangle? The belief triangle, all right? That's okay, good. That's what we're gonna start with first, the belief triangle. So, I want you to draw a triangle. Looks just like this. Just draw a triangle on your paper. Just cooperate. Just like this, okay? And this is a principle I learned years ago, and this applied to the M5 and everything else that I've learned. All right, we're just gonna pull this off. Hold on. So, what I want you to do is on the bottom left, I want you to write belief. Now, belief is also interchangeable with faith. And I know I have the handwriting of a toddler, so just bear with me, all right? And faith or belief, it can be low and it can be high, all right? Let me give you a really simple example. Who here came here by plane? A few of y'all, right? All right, so think about the plane for a second. How much does a plane weigh? Hundreds of thousands of pounds. I don't know. I'm not that smart. Okay? 100,000 pounds. Did you have low or high faith that when you got on the plane, it would stay in the air and get you safely to where you wanted to go? High. Right. So you had really high faith. Okay? Now, only because you have high faith in that, or you can have this next corner, which is action. Okay? Action or effort. All right? Now, just like belief, it can be low and it can be high, all right? It can be low, it can be high, right? Because you have high faith, the plane's gonna stay in the air, safely get you there. You don't have to stress. You're gonna take the high action, you're gonna buy that ticket, you're gonna hop, but you're not gonna worry, like, I'm gonna get there. Is that fair to say? Yes? Yes? Now here's the cool part. Because you have high faith and you have high action, you're gonna have this top part of the belief triangle, which is you're gonna have success. Okay? And I know we're talking about detachment from outcomes, but are you going to be okay if your plane lands safely in Ontario, California, or LAX? Are you going to be okay with that? That's a good outcome. There's nothing wrong with outcomes, all right? So, just like anything else, but before, it can be low, it can be high. But because you have high faith, you have high action, what's your success like? High, okay? Super simple. Now here's the thing. Let's go a little bit deeper, right? Whenever you learn something new, and you're trying to improve your game in anything, you're gonna have to have a level of faith. You join Ian's program. He's gonna ask you, have faith and belief in, say, yo-yo selling. Because he knows only if you have high faith in yo-yo selling are you gonna have what type of action? High action. If you have enough high action, what's gonna happen to your success? It's gonna be very high, okay? And this principle applies to everything in life. If you're learning to, cold plunge for the first time or do yoga for the first time, you're gonna have to have a level of belief first. Ideally as high as possible so you can have that high action. And only if you have high action or you can have high success. So my ask of you, as I teach the other principles today and the principles you've learned already in the last couple days and the conversations in between, is you have to have a level of faith and belief. Ideally as high as possible, because only if you have high faith and belief, you're gonna have high action and high success. Is that cool? Yeah. Give me a yes if you agree. Yes? Yes? Okay, cool. We're just getting warmed up, all right? So that's the first principle. Who's ever heard of the skill effort scale? This is the next build-up principle. Skill effort scale. Good, because I made it up. All right. So This is directly correlated, okay? It's directly correlated. So on your paper, I want you to draw like a cross like this. This will be an arrow, or just a table, whatever's easier. Skill on one side, effort on the other side, just like this. Give you a second to do it. And basically just mirror this. You'll see there's 4 dots on each side, spaced out. I thought they were kind of parallel, but I guess I gotta work on my drawing skills. So as parallel as possible, all right? This will be success up top. Again, this will be low and high. So just take a second, just draw this out. This principle is really, really important. Okay, beautiful. All right, so who here in the last 12 months has started a new role, company, or industry? Anybody? A few guys, right? Okay. So when you start something brand new, what's your effort typically like? Low or high? High, super high, right? And usually you're putting like more hours, more work, more effort. But when you generally start, realistically, what's your skill level probably like? It's probably low. You're probably like here, okay? And what's really interesting is I call it rookie energy, okay? And you'll put in like an insane amount of hours, right? So for example, I start any type of new role, I'm that guy, because unfortunately that background, I'm gonna put in 80 to 100 hours a week. I'll do whatever it takes early on, because I know I have this energy, it's high, that honeymoon energy, if you will. I'm going all in, all right? So high effort, but very low skill, okay? And success, okay. Unknown, depends on obviously the role you're in, whatever you're doing, whatever you are learning, all right? But let's be real here. Is it sustainable to really do that level of effort? Is it sustainable? Definitely not. I don't encourage it, okay? So what's gonna happen is your effort's gonna go down just a little bit to a sustainable level, a manageable level, all right? But the cool part is, if you've done enough of the effort, your skill level goes up a little bit. So, and by this is the rookie line, calls rookie. So it's called rookie. If you can't read it, it says rookie, okay? All right, so then now what happens is you're kind of like this, okay? So you have a good chunk of effort still, skills starting to go up. Your success might be the same, might be above, might be below, might be around the same. So we'll kind of put like right there. All right, so not bad, okay? Now here's what's really interesting. Anything that you do, any new role, is if you maintain this level of effort, what happens to your skill? It goes up, right? So what happens, it starts going like this, okay? Your success also is exponential, all right? And again, the timing often depends on the level of effort and execution in the role you're in, but naturally success starts going up. Now, here's what's really cool. When you're at this level, people start saying, whoa, Nathan, what are you doing, man? Like, you're like the sales cycle is normally like 12 months. You're somehow moving down to 6 months. How did that happen, right? Whoa, you just hit Pico for a 3rd time. Whoa, what's your secret sauce, right? Who's ever had that happen to you? Yeah? Of course, right? This is a really cool spot, right? So what's happening is, if you look at all the people at the same level you are, your status is increasing, okay? They're perceiving you at a different level. This is what I call the management line, okay? I'm gonna write MGMT because I'll probably spell it wrong. MGMT, management line, okay? So you have pretty good success, pretty good skill, right? Decent level, a sustainable level of effort. Now, if you maintain this level of consistent effort in that role, if they're doing the right things, your skill level gets really high, okay? And now, again, it's exponential, right? This is like a big jump generally. You are now separating yourself from the pack in a whole new way. And at this level, people start seeing a whole new light. And this is what it looks like. It sounds like this. People say, whoa, Nathan right up front. Nathan, you're doing a great job in the role. We have this enterprise AE role. We have this mid-market team role for like a sales leader. We have this role, we have that role. Would you be open to have a conversation about this? You start attracting opportunities, right? And even external. Your friends, family might say, whoa, you're a whole new person, right? I think later, you told me that, right? You have friends who are like, you're a whole new man. Your conviction, your confidence, the energy, the happiness, the fulfillment, I feel within you. It's authentic and real, a whole new, we've never seen before. Wow. Opportunities start coming to you in a whole new way, right? You know, like, for example, you know, at the last company I was at, you know, typically it takes usually about 3 to 5 years to become a sales manager. I did it in 9 months because they saw this level of effort and skill. But it didn't happen overnight. It was compounded from prior roles too. But success is very high, right? This is what I call the leadership role, okay, or leadership line. So leadership. Okay? That's a very powerful place to live. Now, sometimes this happens. Obviously nobody here, but you're gonna start at a rookie. You can drop this to state. This is always, we'll go in this order. Go to here, but at the management, like at least effort level, right? Skill might be here, skill might be there, right? But sometimes you'll dip to here. And this is a point when you say, oh, hey, I don't really need to prepare for my calls anymore. I don't need to do account research. You know what I'm doing? I'm just gonna write a generic sequence and throw them all in there. That should work really well. I don't need to set my state and energy. I don't need to do those things that basically made me successful to begin with, right? And what's happening here is, with whether we realize it or not, you're falling to ego. This is ego. And again, skill level might be here. Success, not great. Skill level sometimes it's even here, okay? And by the way, this can happen at any time. You could be at this level, the leadership zone, and still dip. I've seen it happen time and time again. They're like, I made it. Finally, I got promoted. I'm the best. I am awesome. Everything I've worked towards, and they stop doing those things that actually made them successful. And they're telling themselves a logical lie, right? Now, there's a worse one. The worst one is below this. And at this level, not only have you convinced yourself, you try to convince other people. Hey, why are you working so hard? You don't need a call prep. Look, that email sequence, throw in ChatGPT. It's perfect. It's good enough. If it doesn't convert well enough, just add some more context to the sequence. You'll be totally fine. Oh, listen, let's just cut out early. You don't need to do this work. Dude, stop blowing your number out. You're raising the number for everyone else.
I've heard that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, well, go fuck yourself. Like I'm on comp plan, I don't worry about it, right? So like,
Stop
this,
being a problem for the
right.
others.
So what happens is, and they'll say stuff like, well, you invested how much into coaching?
Yeah.
Who's ever heard that from somebody? They're like, and then they say, you just got to get some books on Amazon, and then you'll be fine. Right? All the Reddit trolls and bravado trolls, right? Yeah, I read them. I see what's up. So this is what I call the cancer, all right? This is the cancer. They're impacting other people, right? And again, skill level, sometimes it's actually a pretty good skill level. I've seen it happen. I've seen highly elite people, very skilled. But again, success, mediocre at best, or inconsistent. Big swings, right? 1 year hit P Club, they're feeling on top of the world, miss a couple years in a row, next year get pretty close, and it's like this. It's like this. This has happened to me, right? The key is identifying as soon as it happens so you can change it, right? Now, I share this with you because obviously we got nobody here or here, right? This is the zone you want to live. You want to live here. This is a leadership management zone. That is the best place to live, okay? And the stuff I'm gonna teach you about the M5, I'm gonna ask you two things. Number one, have faith and belief. And number two, start with the rookie, but hit manageable effort level. Because I know only if you do it, are you gonna be able to break the threshold and get yourself to the management leadership line. But here's the thing, success is earned every single day. So it's about maintaining it, right? Like, it sounds crazy, but like getting a six-pack isn't hard. Maintaining it's hard. Making money isn't hard. Keeping the money is hard. So it's being able to do the right things consistently that gets you to that point. And that's what this is all about, all right? Do I have your commitment? Yes? Yep. Yes? Okay, cool, all right. I haven't talked about the M5 yet, hold on. All right, let's talk about this. Okay, so let's talk about the M5 next, all right? Because the M5 are 5 key components. Each M stands for something. It's something you focus on every single day, every single week, every single quarter, every day of your life. Okay? I know it sounds intense, and I'm pretty intense, but if you wanted to change your life, become the best version of you, it ain't gonna be easy, right? It ain't gonna be easy, all right? Being authentic is hard, okay? And by the way, this is reflected in your daily actions, your habits, your routines, and your calendar. I put a note for myself here. I have to give you a warning. Can I give you a warning? All right. I'm gonna share with you stuff I do. Some of y'all are gonna be like, you are crazy. That is insane. That is impossible. I cannot do that. I'm not like you. You are special. I'm nobody special, right? I want to remind you again, this is 17 years of me working on myself. So when I started, it wasn't even close to this. I'm gonna get like super tactical for you. Like I want you to be able to walk away, like, okay, each day I'm gonna do these things, right? Like I want you to like, because I love mastermind, I love getting together, but sometimes I've been in other masterminds where like, I love these ideas and principles, but how do I do it? How do I make it a habit, right? We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is then not an act, but a habit, Aristotle. So we want to be able to maintain a level of consistency, all right? So you gotta have faith and consistent effort, all right? So first off, let's get started. Does anyone know what the hardest territory to manage is? Your mind. It's the territory right between your ears. Right between your ears is the hardest territory to manage. Don't tell me it's greenfield. Don't tell me it's a different country. Don't tell me no one's ever sold in that market. Don't tell me businesses are shutting down. It's a territory between your ears, right? That is by far the hardest territory to manage, right? And the key is identify and just do the right things. That's why when Ian talked about this morning, he had what I call an automatic negative thought, an ant crawl in his brain. And the problem with ants, just like the ones in your house, when one comes in, more keeps coming until you start squashing those ants. If you're not careful, you have an infestation in your brain that drags you down before you know you're second guessing yourself, and now you're on LinkedIn thinking you should look for a new job. All right? Who's ever been there? Right? Like I was Davidson, he's like, hey man, like, you know, you seem pretty confident, like, you know, how'd your first year feel? I'm like, I wanted to quit every single day, right? I'm not even kidding. Every day I'd be looking at like CRO roles, looking at VP sales roles. I'm like, can I do this? Do I want to do this? I'm like, I'm basically 100% commission now. That's what it feels like, you know? Like, it was painful, right? So, we'll talk about the mind first, right? So your mind, okay, determines your focus, okay? Your focus determines your actions. Your actions leads to results. Now, it's not about necessarily the results. We want to focus on this type of stuff first, okay? Because the results are a byproduct of doing what's required for success. So the goal here is doing things every day that feed your mind, that feed your focus, right? Doing things every day that feed your mind, feed your focus, all right? And things that give you energy versus drain you. So I want to give you some examples of things that I used to do. And by the way, if you do these things, I'm not judging, all right? I just want you to have awareness to this. So first thing in the morning, I would read or watch or listen to the news. Does the news actually make you feel better? No. Is it ever really positive? No. So how do you actually feel when you read the news? Shitty, stress. Oh my God, the economy's getting worse. Oh my God, this just happened. Layoffs. They're happening everywhere, right? And whatever you're focused on expands. So that did not make you feel good. So I'd be in the car, 45-minute commute, listen to the news. I'm like, oh man, the economy's falling. It's 2007. I'm physically seeing businesses shut down, and I'm hearing this. I'm telling myself a story, all right? I also used to read social media. Scroll aimlessly. I'm like, damn, everyone's got the perfect life. They got that perfect Christmas photo. Everyone's so happy. I'm like struggling to get my 7-year-old in the photo, just like smile. It's like 1,000 photos, and it's like, that's our Christmas photo? I'm like, how do they have matching PJ? Oh, how do they have matching PJs and everything else that I don't have, right?
Speed.
I'm like,
You got speed though.
oh, just a little bit, you know. So I felt terrible, right? Comparison's a thief of joy. And unfortunately, you are the product in social media. So I'd be scrolling Instagram like, damn, everyone's in better shape than me. Everyone makes more money. Everyone's got a perfect house. Oh my God, look at those countertops in there. It's so much, wow. Look at that island. Damn, what kind of pool in the backyard? Oh my God, I'm a failure. Ant starts crawling in, right? I used to, my phone would be blowing up with notifications. Email, Slack, news, social media. It'd be vibrating in my pocket. You get the phantom vibrate? You're like, nothing? Well, let me just check real quick. Let me just check TikTok real quick. And of course, you plan for like a minute, but what really happens? 10, 30, who knows, the rest of the day. And then you get that Slack from your boss, hey, did you update Salesforce? You're like, oh, fuck. Right now, totally done, right? Not good. So, and what happens when you get all those notifications? What happens? How do you feel? Crappy. Stressed, anxious. So much to do. Where do I start? Overwhelmed, right? I also used to make hundreds of micro decisions. Okay? Let me give you some examples, very small ones. Hey, what should I eat? When should I eat? What should I wear? Should I call this prospect? Should I research? When should I prospect? When should I go through my pipeline? Should I work on my QBR? Oh, I got my expense report due. I want to make sure I get my money. We do those type of things. What to do at the gym? What bills to pay? What groceries to order? What time to pick up the kid? What time is sports practice? What time is this? What time is that? Right? Who's ever felt that? Yeah? How does it feel? Exhausting. Okay? All these things put me in a negative state of mind. Yeah, it's all good. What's up? What's up? All right. Okay. And here's the thing. When you're in a negative state of mind, is it easy or hard to show up for your family? Hard. Right? The people you love the most. Is it hard to show up at work? It's hard. You do your best. You put on your chameleon mask, your robot suit, right? So you can be the person they want you to be, right? Ultimately, my mind controlled me versus me controlling my mind. All right? So I'm going to share with you what I do. And again, I'm not saying you need to do all these things, okay? This is just to give you, hopefully just kind of open your mind to do some different things, all right? Number one, I stopped listening and read the news. Like, my wife's like, she still reads the news, and I don't try to press upon her my personal development because, I'm trying to stay married,
Good strategy.
Pick your battles is the important part. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So she'll be like, oh my gosh, did you see this happen? I'm like, no, I have no idea. She's like, it's terrible. I'm like, does it impact us directly? Be careful how you say it. Tact, tone, and timing. Okay, all right? So instead, what do? I replace that habit with something else. I read books or listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts, things that fill me, that make me learn, grow, expand my mind. So for example, for people in my coaching program, I literally tell them, you can do the same thing with Ian's. I'm like, when you're driving, when you're working out, you pull up the Kajabi app, you play a video instead. Why fill your mind with junk that's not going to feed you? So now you can feed your body and your mind at the same time with whatever you're doing. If you're driving, turn your car into a university on wheels. If you're going for a walk, listen to something that's going to inspire you. Listen to a podcast, listen to a book. Do something that's going to make you grow, all right? That's what I do, okay? I listen to it on daily walks, during my workout, in my car. It's just part of my routine now. It's part of my routine, okay? I'm literally brainwashing myself is what I'm doing. I'm intentionally curating my focus for a reason because I want to have the best mind space. So I can show up for cold calls, sales calls, for people, for myself, for everyone else, all right? Curated feed. We talk about social media, right? You get on LinkedIn, you're like, oh, just be a second. I'm just doing account research. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna map this account. I'm gonna use 100 handshakes, do 100 handshakes, and I'm gonna go on Sales Nav. I'm gonna be super productive. This means on Friday, I got 3 days ago. I'm gonna do a really good job. And you get on LinkedIn, what happens? Doom scrolling, right? We're like, that weird bald guy Marcus is posting what again? So dumb, right? Block, all right? So I used to do the same thing, just so you know, right? So instead, what do? If I'm on my desktop, I use a Chrome extension. It's called Newsfeed Eradicator. I plug all social media to it. YouTube, TikTok, everything, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. When I go to my feed, it blocks everything. It shows me a motivational quote, so I can go in there and do and get done and get out. Nice. I'm on a mission to do what I need to do to be the best version of myself, right? It's intentional design, okay? Newsfeed Eradicator.
So it gets rid of all the other content you're supposed to
It literally it hides your whole feed.
Nice.
It hides your whole feed, all right? It's amazing. When you want to go dark mode, like I'll do dark mode where you can't get a hold of me. I'm just like 4 hours deep work, building something out, something that's going to generate a lot of revenue. I'm dark mode, right? So I need to be able to curate design of how I focus my energy. We all have the same amount of time in the day, right? The only difference between you and the person you want to become, the money you want to make, is your focus, your attention, your energy, and actions. So we want to curate the design. I got my phone on Do Not Disturb 7 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday automatically. Just turns on. It's easy on iPhone. Same thing on Android. Just set it up, right? I also use app limits. So I know I have an addictive personality. I know that, right? Like I know, like for example, like I know I love chips, carbs. I love cake. I love sweets. I love candy. If it's in the house, I will eat it all. I'm not even kidding. Like it's like they used to call me a chanimal for the reason, right? So I'm an animal. Before it was alcohol, then became food. It's the whole thing. Like I have an addictive personality. So I know I need to do these type of things. So for example, on my phone, right? Because the desktop is Newsfeed Eradicator. On my phone, I use app limits on iOS. So I choose all of the social media apps, 1 hour max total for all apps. So it pops up like, you reached your quota for the day. Like you gotta stop, right? So that it's again, it forces me like, oh, you're right. Like who's ever like had like 5 minutes? You grab your phone. What do? Scroll. You don't. It's like they have trained you. You are the product. So I want to hide that, right? I use another tool called 1sec. Okay. Here's what it does. I'll show you. I'll show you. It's kind of hard. Might be hard to see, but you'll be able to see up front. So if I open up any social media, okay. So if I open up LinkedIn, like this, it'll take a second, and then something's gonna pop up. It says it's time to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me.
That's really cool.
Okay? It's forcing the attention. Now it says, hold on, 3 attempts to open LinkedIn within 24 hours. Oh man, I'm getting judged here? Right? All right, last used 12 hours ago. All right? Now it gives you a choice. I don't want to open LinkedIn or continue LinkedIn.
What's that called, Marcus?
It's called 1sec. So you can hack the automations with it and do for all social. All right?
That's great.
And I don't get paid for them, by the way. It's not like an affiliate. Like go to vendingconsulting.com/ whatever. Anyways, but here's it gets cooler. So now, okay, I'm like, I'm weak, I'm tired, willpower's low. Continue LinkedIn. I gotta choose my intention now. What? So intentional friction to the thing my brain is trying to pull me into, right? I'm bored, stressed, tired, procrastinate, anxious, sad, can't sleep. Toilet, right? Mental break, work, right? So you have to choose attention. So it's like this friction that adds like extra 10 seconds. So like it may not eliminate the habit, but it minimizes drastically. So before I had app limits, and I'll be like, oh, cool, like I'll kind of stop, and then I'm like, oh, ignore, I'm gonna keep going, like, and then when I got 1sec, I'm like, oh man, I'm so impatient, like, I ain't got time for this. Let me just get back to work, I guess. God, right? So stuff like that's very useful, okay? That's a very, very tactical thing for you. I automate decisions. Whatever, and again, this is gonna, some of you can be like, can't do that. It's impossible. You're just a freak. True, for the freak part, but it's not impossible, right? So whatever I can automate to be the same thing every single time, I will do, all right? I'll give you some examples. I eat the same, except for when I travel, I eat the same thing every single day. I don't think. Very simple, very fast. I eat the same thing every single day. I don't want to think about it. All right, during the day. Go ahead.
I got a question on that.
Please.
So, how does that work with your spouse and kid and all that? Because that's, you got to factor that in.
100%, 100%.
How do you deal with that?
So I cook 6 days a week for dinner. My wife does all the lunches. I make all the dinners. So the dinners is pre-planned. I make all the food. So what happens is it's basically the same rotation every week anyways. So it's the same grocery order, right? It's the same meal. It might be different days depending on what's going on in the week, but we don't need to think, right? So it's kind of the same thing. So my kid, he's picky, he has over 40 allergies. So he has a very specific diet regimen we have to put him through. So he has his own separate foods. But again, it's automatic, systemized. Please.
So I want to add something, something my husband and I do. So every Saturday we do our grocery shopping, we food prep for the entire week.
Beautiful.
So because we're in back-to-back meetings, we just pop that particular food on the plate and we have that. So no thinking.
Love it.
You just have the break, you go have, eat, and then I completely
love that.
eliminate the decision making.
I
It's just
love
one
it.
day, and then also got some extra help, so someone actually comes and helps me.
Even
so
better.
if you want to make more of your time, then probably that's also going to
See,
help you.
super smart. Outsourcing time, right? Some people order like factory meals or meal prep, right? You can say?
What I was going to say is, like, I set up a whole system.
Yeah.
So, like, where you can start.
Fiscally responsible.
I moved to factory because I work 5 hours a week. So, 4 quarters. But I found that you can actually rotate all of them. And they'll ask you to come back for 75% off.
See? See, beautiful. I love that. It's you build a simple system. It's not complex. It takes a little bit of intentional planning. You can make it work. So, for example, like even like groceries, it's like we have an Apple Note my wife and I share, but it's basically the same stuff. So, also we have some tweaks here and there, but like 9% of the time it's the same stuff. We just uncheck those things and just order them. Tanvir?
This is where you get into kind of what we talk about a lot, which is the cost of your time, the value
100%.
of your time.
100%.
So if you're doing a task that is sub your value of your time, that's when you start thinking, okay, I should automate this task.
100%.
Because it's not worth my time.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we're gonna come down in a little bit. I love your right spot. I wear basically the same clothes every day. Like, some people dog me like, dude, Chan, black V-neck again? I'm like, who cares? Like, for me, like shirts bring zero value to me, right? Like it's just a shirt. Like it's not important. Like I'm not a fashion icon. Like I'm just trying to run a business here, you know. Like I'm just a regular dude. Who am I gonna impress at home, you know? So I literally buy my shirts in bulk. I have like 20 black V-necks, you know, no joke, right? You know, like and like my pants. I think I have like 6 or 7 Lululemon pants, just different colors. I'm like swap. I'm like Homer Simpson, right? Like same thing, you know. And again, it works for me. It doesn't work for my wife, right? But she's applied a similar principle in the sense of she has these basics that's on rotation. So she's like, cool. I'm like, great. So she's able to have that level of flow. And obviously, like, your special occasion is obviously different. But when I wake up, I do not want to think. I need to save that energy for a high leverage task that generates income. Very important, all right? I have pre-planned workouts at the gym. I go to the gym. I used to take like literally an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I started to monitor what I was doing and pay close attention. And I realized I could do the same thing in 30 minutes. I realized I get on there, I do a set, Instagram. See, things all feed together, right? You kind of see how it's kind of building together. So it would take me down these rabbit holes. So now it's down to 30 minutes, right? But you kind of get my point. And I'm not, again, you do not need to do all these. That's not the message I want you to take, okay? Everything is designed on a daily, weekly basis. It's just choosing specific things that will feed your mind, okay? All right? Okay, here's the exercise we're gonna do. I want you to answer this question, just kind of journal it out. I was gonna write this, but my handwriting's so terrible you wouldn't be able to read it anyways. So this is what it is. Answer this question, and you can just make a list, okay? What am I consciously or subconsciously doing that puts me in a state of anger, envy, sadness, depression, or any other negative emotion? Just brain dump. Be brutally honest. Just dump everything on there. Please, yeah.
because I know you replaced the social media with a lot of like the podcasts,
Yeah.
the like brain, and I've
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel now listening to that stuff,
Yeah.
that that gives me anxiety.
Mm.
It's like, oh, I'm not where these guys are at, or I'm not
Yeah.
as good as these people who are
Yep.
inspiring
Yep.
me. So it's like I've been brainwashed, but I'm also comparing myself to them now. Do you deal with that too?
100%. To me, what that means is it's time to pivot. So that's a feedback loop, right? So there's an action, there's a result, there's feedback. And if you keep doing the same thing, it's called insanity, right? So instead, you need to break the pattern. So the question to ask is, what can I replace that with that would fulfill me? So for example, for me personally, I'll sometimes switch to like, maybe psychology of money, behavioral psychology, right? Ian's looking at my list, he's like, evolutionary psychology, like what is this stuff, Like there's a bunch of other stuff too. Something's gonna feed you. It could be how to be, a good husband. Just different things, right?
So, one of just my personality
Yeah.
archetype.
Yep.
Structure feels super confining.
For most people it does.
I'm like half creative, half
Yeah.
structure.
Yep.
So how do you find a way to enjoy the structure?
Yeah.
For me,
Yep.
I got to enjoy the
Yep.
structure that I'm doing. The minute I stop enjoying it, we can set all this shit up, and
Yep.
I'm gonna just be like, nope.
Yep.
So what is there? Do you have any thoughts on how
100%.
to build a feedback loop and structure that you
100%. So let me share the mistakes that some people do when I kind of like teach them something. Is they walk away, they're like, dude, I'm juiced up now. That was fire. I'm fired up. I'm excited. That was incredible. I'm ready to go run through walls now. And they go and they build the perfect routine. And they try to change their whole lives. And guess what happens? Falls through. Yeah, it falls through immediately. So that's why, especially if you want to make a change, you start with something small first. Something you feel you can commit to. It doesn't have to be crazy, right? Just something small you can commit to, and you start building on that, right? And what happens over time is it's a feedback loop. So if it's like, okay, if it's getting a little stale, how can I want to accomplish the same goal of the mind space, but what can I do instead that can give me the same result? And we're only limited by creativity, by the way. So these are just things that I've done. There's way more things you can do. It just depends on the person, all right? And on top of that, like Jocko Willink says, right? Discipline equals freedom. Like that's just a reality. So like for me personally, I know the more disciplined I am, the more creative I can actually be, because what happens is when I'm trying to be creative, there's too much stuff going on. I can't think, I'm overwhelmed, and I actually get weighed down by everything else. If I do too much context switching, I end up having attention residue. So attention residue is a residue from the prior task you were doing. You try and switch to something new, but now you can't focus. It takes you 15, 20 minutes just to get to the new thing. That makes it very hard, right? So that's why it's a little balance, right? So that's a really good question. All right, so next, choose one and just circle it, okay? Choose one that has the greatest impact and write down exactly what you're gonna do to change that starting tomorrow. Write down exactly one thing you're gonna do from that list that you chose that you can commit to. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be small, big, doesn't matter. Small, big, count them all, right? Doesn't matter. And once you've got yours, share with a partner next to you. Just take a second and just share with your partner next to you. Remember, we're in the circle of trust here. All right, start wrapping it up. All right, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. I got 4 more to go, guys. I got 4 more to go. We're just getting warmed up, okay? All right. Who wants to share theirs?
I've actually picked 2.
Catch only.
Let's share 2 then. We'll do it.
So, previously I would spend half an hour going through the newspapers news. I'm going to cut it out. And the second thing then is in terms of the LinkedIn scrolling.
Yeah.
The 1 sec.
I love it. Awesome. Awesome. Super simple. We're just going to do 1 for now. We're going to keep going. All right. So, cool. All right. Now we're going to the next M. Okay. Give me a yes when you feel better when you're healthy. Okay. Let me try it again. Give me a yes when you feel better when you're healthy. Yes. All right. Okay. When you feel better, is your willpower stronger or weaker? Way stronger. Okay. And does what we all do require tremendous willpower? Yes. 100%. 100%. Okay. So, who here says I need to get better at time management? Who's ever thought that? Okay. Time management. Okay. I want to shift the paradigm a little bit because this next M is actually what I call muscle, okay? Now muscle is not just like your physical muscle, it really means actually energy. And I actually believe it's not about time management, it's about energy management, all right? Energy management. Energy management. In fact, it's far greater because the better you can control your energy, the better you control the time in what you're actually doing in the time you have allotted, all right? And I'm gonna show you a really simple equation I came up with. It's energy. I'm kind of a nerd if you couldn't tell, okay? Energy times focus to the time power equals results, right? Okay? Energy times focus to the time power equals results, all right? And if you think about this, energy is gonna be the muscle piece we're gonna talk about in a second. Focus is your mind. You compound it with time, you can get results. You miss any of these elements, you have zero energy, pretty good focus. Are you going to be able to really get results? No. If you don't give yourself enough time, not going to get results. You have to have all these elements, okay? And from a muscle perspective, for years, now I grew up competitive. I played sports, not very good at most of them. I was pretty decent competitive swimming. I was competitive swimming growing up for years. Like we would swim like 60,000 meters a week. It was pretty intense. And I did it for years. And when I went to college, I didn't get enough money for swimming because swimming is not, they don't really give you much scholarships. It's kind of crappy actually. And I pay for school myself. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start working out in the gym. I'm gonna lift weights. I'm gonna do this thing. And back then it's a little different, right? You're in college, no real responsibilities, gotta kind of show up. So I'm in the gym 2 hours a day. It's great, And fast forward, I just kept doing the same thing, right? And graduated. You get a real job. Hard to work 2 hours a day. I trimmed down an hour and a half, right? Now, fast forward a few years, 25, 26, I'm still basically working the same way. And I also had the same diet when I was in college. Who remembers the college diet? Yeah, I'm like crushing pizzas because I freaking love pizza. I'm crushing pastas. And because I was a swimmer, I used to consume between 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. Now, I didn't do that once I stopped swimming to that same level, but I was still consuming at least 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day, right? And I'll tell myself, I'm working out. Totally cool, right? And here's the thing. When you're 21, what's your metabolism like? Incredible. It's like, it just turns into a six-pack. I'm like, eat a donut. I'm like, oh my God, I'm stronger, right? I'm like, what is, how having these calves, it's like, it's crazy, right? And 25, 26, I look in the mirror, I'm like, whoa, I'm looking puffy. Like, Puffy Chan does not look good. Right? I'm like, oh my God. And my wife's like, yeah, you do look puffy, She's like, yeah, but I kind of noticed that, But I'm like, that's strange. I'm doing the same stuff I've been doing for years, So then I kind of started studying into it, and I realized that, the muscle just helps you kind of remember the M. It was really beyond just working out. It was like nutrition, it was sleep, and all these things. So my wife and I, at that point, we got really aligned in this. Because she's like, you know what, because she was eating the same stuff. She's like, yeah, I feel a little puffy too. I would never say it, obviously. If you say it, it's not true. If they say it, it's true, right? It's a marriage lesson right there. All right, so I made some changes, all right? And again, I'm gonna share with you what I do right now, okay? Again, I'm not saying you need to do this. And I do my best to be consistent. I'm not perfect. I will mess up. All right, I will overeat. I'll still eat the wrong things. Like if my wife gets sweets in the house, destroyed. I cannot control myself. Like I am literally just an animal with it. I'm like, oh cool, 6 cinnamon rolls, gone. Right? Like not good. Very unhealthy, okay? It's like peanut butter, So here's what I do now, all right? And you don't have to do this. I'm just giving you examples of ideas again. So typically, I eat 90% veggies and lean meats. High quality, organic stuff, lean meats, lean proteins. Minimal carbs. That's a hard one to cut. But if I do have carbs, it's usually complex carbs. So for example, instead of white rice, I have brown rice. Instead of white potatoes, I have a sweet potato. Or I usually have quinoa instead of brown rice. But minimal carbs. This is also a hard one. I read labels on everything. So processed foods, less than 5 ingredients on there. If it has more than 5 ingredients, you're eating some chemicals, okay? Who here has ever eaten international somewhere, right? Like who's ever eaten like a pizza like in like Italy, right? Have you noticed when you eat pizza in Italy, it feels very different than pizza in the US? Like here, you eat like a pizza, like, ugh, you feel like your gut, you doubled over. In Italy, like, I feel actually pretty good. I could eat another one. Right, I could eat another one, right? And you eat it like, oh, that's a new bicep. Well, good tricep, you know? So, that's part of the rules we have, right? And we're not perfect. There's some stuff that obviously breaks a little bit, but I usually will intermittent fast 6 days a week, right? And basically what that means is I have an eating window. You don't have to do this. This is works for me. So I only usually eat between 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's kind of my eating window. And depending on the day, I might have to adjust a little bit. Kind of just depends on meetings and stuff. Where I'm like, oh, if I'm back to back in the afternoon, I'm gonna have to eat in the morning. It is what it is, right? So it's just principles to live by, right? I do one 24-hour fast a week, where it's just a water fast. I don't eat anything. Just drink water, all coffee, right? Now that is actually more mental than anything else. It's more of a mental thing. Time I'm doing hard things consistently, that's one of the things I do. I told Ian that like I will just set weird challenges for myself just to push myself.
Do you feel like your workout changes when you do that 24 hours? Like does you're focused on energy and stuff?
Yeah, I definitely feel it for sure, but I still do it because I've developed the habit of just doing my best to do hard things. Like even if it's not perfect, even if I do like just a half-ass workout, I showed up, right? Like yoga was really hard for me today. I've only done yoga 4 times in my life, like, and that was really hard for me. But I was like, I'm just gonna do my best to do the poses, right? Like, just try to push through. Try to push through, right? It's a mental game, okay?
You do your 24-hour fast, what day a week?
Mondays usually.
Mondays.
So like, so what happens is, this allows me to be super productive. So even with intermittent fast, this allows me to like, I know if I don't like, if it's not crazy, I'm gonna eat at noon, I can just do deep work all morning, Monday morning. And not think about, what am I gonna eat? What am I gonna do? Should I make that smoothie now? I have it on my counter actually when I eat stuff. So this way it's just pre-planned.
When does it start then?
What's that?
When does your 24-hour fast start then?
So usually it's actually relatively simple. I finish dinner, let's call it if it's 7 or 7:30, I just don't eat until the next dinner. That's it. So like, it's relatively simple. It's a 24-hour time period, not necessarily a day, right? It works for me. You don't have to do it, by the way. I'm just saying like, this is just a fun challenge. I can challenge myself, push myself, right? Okay. I usually eat, yeah?
I think one thing mentioned with the intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
like I don't know about you, but for me,
Yeah.
it was a thing, it was for work, not
Yeah.
for the health part is
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
But for me, it was like when I was eating breakfast in the mornings, I couldn't work, like my
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
I couldn't focus, I couldn't dial into the deep
100%.
because I was
100%.
like, so tired. from
100%.
food.
And the food is really important. So I found like, when I was eating foods that didn't serve me like I just discussed, lower energy.
Yeah.
Right? Like I eat like a heavy lunch, not feeling great. So like that's why it's like I optimize for like energy. So I do certain things like that, right? It's a hard decision, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I typically have between 1 to 200 grams of protein every day. It's part of what I do. I will drink 120 to 200 ounces of water a day. I drink a lot of water. I need my P to be C and C. You know what C and C stands for? Clear and copious. Yeah, clear and copious. My swim coach taught me that. I'm like,
How much water do you drink? How much protein?
I usually have 200 grams of protein, and I just drink filtered water usually. That's it. Nothing crazy. I ain't fancy, just water from my fridge, a little, that's it. I'm simple. I work out six workouts a week. Like I've mentioned, only 30 minutes each time. Everything is pre-planned. It's very targeted for muscle group. 360 to 480 reps of a very specific muscle group. Pre-planned. Go ahead.
Marcus, do you go to the gym or do you do that at home?
So I have a home gym, and I also go to the gym as well. So kind of like sometimes the schedule's kind of crazy. Like, and I just know if I go to the gym, it's a whole thing because I'm gonna go there, go to my locker. I'm gonna work out. I got the cold plunge after. I got the sauna. I'm gonna just like spend the time there. So it's a commitment. So I don't always have the luxury of that because of whatever's going on.
Why I asked. Yeah, I was curious.
So I have a home gym, right? And here's the thing, like, you don't need to have extra stuff now these days. You could just do a HIIT workout from YouTube. There's a lot of really easy ways. Like I showed Ian, I have an elastic band I bring when I travel because I don't always have the luxury of having the weights. So the elastic band creates resistance so I can hit different muscle groups even when I travel, right? So it's just one of those things, all right? 10,000 steps a day minimum. 10K in steps every day. Zero excuses. I do comprehensive blood panels every 120, 180 days. I use a third-party company, get my blood, they measure 45 or 50 biomarkers. It measures my inner age, my biological age versus my actual age, compares it so I can like work on improving and optimizing with the supplements or food or diet or exercise or sleep. I used to drink a lot. Like Mike, I never admitted I had a problem. I just thought it's totally normal to binge drink 4 nights a week and black out. That is totally normal, right? It's just part of the culture. I thought that was normal, right? Eventually kind of phase that out. So I very rarely drink. So I drank last year in December, 2023, and I don't think I drank for 4 years prior to that. So it's just a decision for me, and it could, because I found it impacted my energy levels. Like my sleep is jacked up. I could see the patterns, okay?
How do you fit in the 10K steps? Where do you fit, when and when?
So in the morning, as part of my routine, if I wake up at like 5:30 or 5, I'll get 2K before 6. If I wake up at 6, I'll get 2K before 7. So if it's nice out, I'll walk outside the weight vest. If it's raining in Oregon, which is often, I'll literally walk in my house just to get the steps in, right? So I'll have an audiobook in or whatever, and I'll just be walking to get my steps in. The thing about like, if you get some, like, how great did you feel getting a workout this morning? Pretty good? Like you feel like, I can conquer the world. I did something hard. And you know, your confidence level is like a bank account. The more deposits you can make it, which is commitments to yourself, the more confidence grows. But when you make a commitment, you break it, you withdraw from that bank. And now your confidence bank is draining. And every micro decision you make that you don't follow through drains your bank account. So that's why these are all based off habits, right?
Marcus, I'm curious on a lot of us being in sales end up traveling a lot to meet our customers. And personally, I got a personal trainer. I told my personal trainer day one, I will commit to this 4 out of 5, not 5 out of 5.
Sure.
Because I travel so much, and I will prioritize that. And I like all this sounds amazing, but then as soon as you get on that flight every other week, how the hell do you keep a routine in place?
I'm glad you asked. So I used to sleep in a hotel room 100 nights a year.
What was that?
I slept in a hotel room 100 nights a year. I traveled every single week. Every single week. Very hard on my family. I was gone. And actually, at first, super hard. Right? Yeah.
Keep going. You answer it.
I would get stressed. Like, oh my God, like, I could feel like I was losing energy, right? So I had to pivot. So there were certain things, like for example, food was really hard. So I'm like, the food was really a hard part. So I started having my EA assistant. I would have her like pre-plan like dinner restaurants. I'm like, I need you to look at the menu. Number one, it fits within budget, so I don't go out of pocket for the team. And number two, it has to follow these parameters, right? So I could at least do my best to like have like a relatively healthy meal. Like when you order appetizers, game over, man. I'm like, oh man, tamari, it's squid, it's fine, it's healthy, right?
Lobster, escargot.
Less lobster, escargot, right? So you gotta be careful, right? So that was number one. So like pre-plan, but also like I would pre-plan wasn't eat during the day. So like I'm like, okay, like for example, like I'm always gonna stay in Marriott. I'm like, only book Marriotts. The Marriott must have a Starbucks inside. The Starbucks inside must have it was like this like little carb wrap with like eggs inside. I can't remember what it's called. Exactly. So I was like, okay, yeah, but see, boom. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get like 3 of those, okay? Like that's gonna be my thing. And then I would pack protein bars with me. So during the day, I could just like run hard. And then at night, it was harder. But then the workouts, I had to adjust it based off the gyms. So I looked at all the gyms at every hotel. I need specifically these things for the gym, all right? Now it's a little hard when you're in Yakima, Washington, okay? If you've never been there, right? So I just do my best. It's not perfect, right? So I had the band, I just do like a HIIT work, I just do something different, right? So like my point was like, it was just doing something. So I'd much rather, instead of just doing nothing, even if it's like a partial, way better, right? Does that make sense? Yeah?
And it's not, I just want 2 things. Where's Latif? Okay. Latif, how old are you?
50 this next week.
You look great, brother.
He looks amazing. So Latif, yesterday I'm on a run,
Latif passes me by. He's on a run because it's his identity.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
you
it.
wanna Go cold plunge.
That's it.
He's got it in his house. Where's Daniel? How old? Stand up.
Dude, let's go, baby. Look at them. Look at those guns, right? What's up, baby?
56 in competing in the World Championships of Spartan.
Incredible.
This in a few months. Same thing, running on the trail. So it's an identity.
Yep.
Even on vacation, hotel, traveling, you have to do it because that's who you are.
Yep.
It's not a choice. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to, this is who I am. Wherever I go, I make a commitment. So
You're exactly right. If you don't brush your teeth, how do you feel? All right, for those who didn't say anything, add that as a habit. All right, add that as a habit. I don't do drugs anymore. I used to smoke a lot of weed, right? I'm from Oregon. What do you expect? Come on. You know? It's like it's just a quick bong rip before I make some cold calls. It's legal now. Come on. No, I stopped that years ago. Seriously. It jacks your sleep up. I'm telling you, you get weird dreams. So, sleep. That's a big one. I've been working really heavily on I have a sleeping disorder. I do my best to get 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep. It's not perfect. It's really hard, especially if you have kids and stuff, right? But sleep tracking. So some of you guys I've seen have whoops, right? Daniel's got a whoop. Ian's got a whoop. You got I'm an Oura ring guy, right? Sleep tracking. So I have a tight feedback loop. On my phone, I have an auto red light filter at 7:30 p.m. It kicks on, turns red. It helps minimize the light to my eyes and helps start to activate melatonin in the brain. That helps a little bit. No screens an hour before bed. It's not an app. It's just actually it's part of iPhone. You can add a color filter. You can just you can use automation. I also have it like if I double tap, it's hit or miss. Oh, there you go. It turns red. So it also, number one, makes it less appealing to look at your phone. And number two, it's red light, right? So it helps with the sleep. Okay, I gotta turn it off now. Oh, there you go. Okay. This is gonna be kind of crazy. Red lights upstairs after 9. But we sleep upstairs in the house the way it's designed. Red night lights, the lights turn on, red bulbs. It's kind of creepy, actually. Like a horror movie, right? Right? But I'm used to it now, right? So red lights after 9. Why? It helps to activate melatonin in the brain, which helps you start to relax. So like who has kids again? Kids? Remember the nighttime routines? How important that is? Yeah. Same thing. Like most adults don't have a good nighttime routine. It's like, oh, kids are in bed. Watch TV, feed the brain with whatever negativity, you know, watch whatever. I don't even know if it's on TV anymore, right? Love is Blind or something. Is that a thing still? I don't even know, right? So we have red lights instead. You sleep better when it's cooler. So auto temperature drops down to 68 degrees at 9 p.m. So I'd actually go colder, but my wife would kill me. Again, I want to stay married, right? Compromise.
66.
See, I would love 66. Yeah. So I use a weighted blanket that helps a lot. I have sleep apnea, so I'm restless. So I got a CPAP, or I got the thing, man. I got the machine, Darth Vader, wildly sexy, very sexy, right? Got that baby on, right? The food I eat is also really important. So I found if I eat bad, I break the rules, my sleep always not good. My heart rate variability drops down. My resting heart rate skyrockets. My body temperature increases. I'm more restless. The sleep is not as deep or rich. My REM sleep is jacked up. My deep sleep is jacked up. I don't feel good. I don't like that, right? So, like for example, like I have 1 cheat meal a week. 0 rules. I eat, I destroy it.
Say that again.
I have 1 cheat meal a week. There's no rules and no judgment in my house. All right?
How long is that meal?
Oh, well, remember, I'm an animal. 20 minutes, it's gone. I'm not even kidding. It's like, you know, I'll crush like a whole pizza, 4 cinnamon rolls, a bunch of candy. Like I'll consume like 6,000 calories in a sitting. Yeah, please, yeah. Yeah. See? Yeah.
I'm still struggling to get more than 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
I'm running 4 hours a night. Just
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
I didn't have I didn't use the CPAP.
Yeah.
I started using it after I went to Europe and
Yeah.
changed my life. But I have found that that one cheat meal a week. I eat one meal a day.
Yeah.
It's like an extreme form of
Yeah.
fasting.
Oh, yeah.
I sleep better.
For you?
Yeah.
And you measure and track it? All right. So here's what's really important. Use data to make decisions.
Yeah.
That's really important. So there's genetics involved as well, how your body processes it.
It's kind of true what you said because I stopped eating carbs and
Yeah.
I stopped falling asleep.
Yeah.
Then I had to bring carbs back
Yeah.
for dinner so I can fall asleep. So it
So-
was very different.
So but I'll measure it, right? So sometimes fall asleep.
Also, the right kind of carbs. Like, just to be really
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not crushing like 4 pizzas.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
I'll be all about that. Let's go, baby. Let's come over to my house. Let's do it.
It's like
Yeah.
I have pasta with Alfredo sauce.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah. Now, how much time we got?
Just keep it.
Okay. Okay. Track it, measure it, because also if you fall asleep too early or too easily, also a problem. It could actually mean you're actually overtired. So your latency is actually very, very important. All right. So for example, I got sleep apnea. So sometimes I'm like, my wife takes like a little bit longer. She's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "Well, it is what it is." Okay. Anyways, you don't have to do all the things. I'm not saying you need to do it. Again, my point is every day I do things consistently that give me energy. Not perfect. I mess up. I'll break the rules, but I just do my best. Because if I can stick to rules even like 50% of the time, pretty good actually. And the more I can increase it, the better it's gonna be. Okay. So we'll do one quick exercise. We're not gonna share it, but I want you to do the exercise anyways. Write down what am I doing right now that's hurting my body or physically draining my energy. Let's make a big list, and after you make the list, just circle one that you're gonna work on tomorrow. What you're gonna do. All right, cool. We're gonna, obviously you can work on this later. Also make sure we cover the other 3 M's, so we're covered for all of them, okay? So let's kind of think about the first 2 we covered. Number 1's what? Mind. Number 2 is what? Right? So now we got the mind right. We're gonna get the energy right. So we're going good. The 3rd M is mission, right? Mission. This is your why. Now, if you're unclear on your why, are you likely to do what's hard when obstacles show up?
No.
You're like, don't need to do that, right? For anything, okay? Now, I'll tell you right now, actually for years, I didn't know my why. I operate out of fear, right? For years, until 2015. I just didn't know. I'm like, man, I was so worried about being poor, being broke, being ashamed, letting my parents down. I just operate out of fear, out of lack, right? And it got me results, right? I can't say it didn't work, but it got me some results, right? And then in 2015, I read a book by Brendon Burchard. Anyone heard of Brendon Burchard? Okay. Really good book, High Performance Habits. And when I read that book, there was a really interesting point in there, and he talked about his simple question for his why, which is, if I was to die tomorrow, what 3 words I want someone to remember me by? What 3 words I want someone to remember me by? And that really hit me hard. It hit me really, really hard. And as I really thought, it took me a while to kind of figure out, right? It wasn't like overnight, but I kind of vacillated on this idea. And as I thought through it, I realized even prior to the fear thing, there was other things that really drove me. And for me, if I had to think of 3 words, number 1, I don't know what else to tell you. The first one was influence. So I'm like, but not like, I want to be a sales influencer. Pretty stupid, actually. It was more so like whoever I encounter, the server at the restaurant, the garbage guy that does the garbage, everyone here, anyone in my life that gets to interact, anyone online, can I potentially, hopefully influence them to be a better version of them, right? Doesn't have to be a sale, it could be anything. Just hopefully, maybe I can inspire them, motivate, influence them in just a good way. That's it. And I realized that was a big part of just why I've done things. The second thing was legacy. And it wasn't like, I want to build a huge legacy, build a crazy business. It was more so that hopefully with that level of influence, that person I encounter can pass it on and help other people. And I'll give a really good example. And I was at dinner Friday night with Ian and several of you amazing guests, and we're out at dinner. I get a text from a guy that used to work for me over 10 years ago. And he was a guy who, he wasn't his authentic self. He would show up trying to be all machismo. That's how it was. Part of it was cultural. And it was very much like, you gotta be a certain way, I gotta act this way, very egotistical. Like, no joke, in the bullpen, he'd be like, Chen, push-up contest now. I'm like, dude, let's make some calls. Why are you doing this? Now, younger version of me was kind of dumb, and we did a push-up contest, and obviously I won, obviously, right? Just in 1 month, how many did you do? Got it, get back on the phones. Just kidding. But what's cool was like, he started changing himself, right? And he actually had like a ton of, like 50K in debt. And part was he like kept trying to date these girls, and he tried to buy their love. Like, no joke, couple first dates, Louis purse. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I know. I'm like, he was like, because he wanted to impress them, right? With some sort of status. It was insecurity is what it was. So what was interesting was like he kept doing that, and then like he started working for him, started changing how he sold, started being a more authentic seller, was really just being a good human being, started to get better at selling. And a few months in, he's like, hey Marcus, like, I know like you're pretty cheap. I'm like, fiscally responsible. Yeah. He's like, I got all this debt. I need your help. Can you help me get rid of my debt? I'm like, yeah, dude, like we'll sell more, we'll close. No. He's like, I need you to hold me accountable for my debt. And my ask is this, I have a whiteboard at home, it says 50K every Friday. If I don't text you by like 6 p.m. with an update of how much debt's left, it should be hopefully going down, then I want you to call me on it. I'm like, are you sure? It's kind of weird, dude. Like, he's like, yeah, do it, please. I'm like, okay. So every week, if he didn't text me, I text him, hey bro, where's it at? Oh God, I can't believe I told you to do this. I'm like, you told me, man. I committed to you, you commit to me, right? So he was doing that. 6 months later, that's gone, okay? Fast forward, hits President's Club, years later now, happily married, been promoted, hit President's Club, 4 kids, right? Got the dream, like making the money he wants to make, right? And he still texts me to this day. And the really cool part is like, he'll text me, he'll be like, hey, like, dude, like, I told this rep, like, you gotta do this thing, like, because you told me that. So to this day, that's the legacy I'm talking about. That's like the influence I'm talking about, right? To me, that's really important. And selfishly, yeah, it makes me feel good. It does. Selfishly, it makes me feel really good when people get results. You know, I'm not scared to say that, right? Now, then the last one was love, which is, for me personally, again, this is not from yours. Mine was love. It was just, whatever I do, people know I do with love, care, and attention. Whether it's with a stranger, talking to any of y'all, with my spouse, it's done with love. That just worked for me, all right? And what's interesting is like, once I got really clear with this definitely changed how I looked at life, all right? Because this is 2015, okay? And I'll tell you, at this point, like I was feeling pretty good about my career. I was 31 years old, Salesforce with 85 employees, got some power, some influence, some like, you know, people are kind of like, oh, you're kind of I don't want to say big deal, it's kind of stupid, but you're respected in what you do. I'm like, oh wow, like life's pretty good. But I felt like I could do more. I felt like my potential was not tapped, right? Right? I wanted to open it up more. And that's when I first started my first side hustle at that point. And then that led to building a course and trying to do more. It led to me wanting to influence people beyond the company, right? And what was really interesting was this, and I'm gonna kind of draw a graph for you. Let me go like this, so you can see it. What's that?
You had legacy and love. What was the first?
Influence. All right. So it was kind of like this. If the bottom was like time, and this was like the now, and this was the future, we'll call it F future, and this was influence. Just like that. In the opportunity vehicle I was in, running a large sales org, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I'll for sure be able to do this, right? I'll continue to, as time goes on, I'll know I'll get promoted, I'll be able to do more things, I'll build a stronger reputation. I'll notice it go like this. Good, that's pretty good. But what if, like, I can go like this, right? Well, I can get far more, right? And it didn't draw enough space, but go beyond that. And that's when I realized I had to go all in my business. Because I knew my why, it completely changed the decision I was making on a day-to-day basis. But when you are unclear in your why, you live for the now. You live for the quarter. You live for the month. You live for your quota. You live for the annual President's Club. And I want you to expand your time horizon to be beyond that, okay? So mission drives what you do for the future and is beyond a quota number, okay? And drives what you do even daily. We're not gonna do the exercise to save time, but I want you to write down this exercise, okay? Which is very simple. You just do later today. If you die tomorrow, what's 1 or 3 words you want to be remembered by? That's it. And why? And you don't have to do it right now. We're not gonna have time, right? But just think about that. And by the way, this is a hard exercise, by the way. Who thinks it's hard? I think it's hard. I'm going to teach you a really simple model. It's called inverse problem solving. Momentum models teach you principles that you can't do with just tactics. So anyone know what inverse problem solving is? Very simple. Well, you write down what you'd hate to be known for. If you dive into like, oh man, Marcus is a real POS and this and this and this, and like he was selfish, he was greedy, he was this. You write down all those adjectives first. You write down all the negatives first. Then, what's the opposite? And they'll give you a guiding light towards that. You can do this actually for solving any problem. Like, oh, if I want to miss my quota, what would I do? What's the opposite? Right? Okay, we're gonna handle these next couple ones. All right, cool. So, all right. So now we have mind. We got the mind dialed. We got the muscle dialed. We're clear on the mission. Life's going good. The third M is marriage, but not in the way you think. All right. This is for all relationships. So it's treating every relationship that's important to you like you're married to them. So who's married? Raise your hand. What's the honeymoon stage like? Great. Did you do things you probably wouldn't know, you don't do now? Right? This is what I'm talking about, okay? When you're dating early on, you're doing different things, right? Okay? So I want you to start thinking about this way, all right? Now, I'm going to read this quote to you. Esther Perez, she's a relationship psychotherapist. She says, the quality of your relationships determine your quality of life. Your quality of relationships determine your quality of life. Esther Perez, E-S-T-H-E-R. And you know, we all have people that we have certain people we talk to, and we get invigorated, right? Anybody have people like that? Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel good. I'm juiced, right? How about the opposite? You talk to them, you get drained. Energy vampires, like just sucking the life out of you, right? Sometimes we have prospects like that. Let's be real, you know. So this M is about how you show up for the most important relationships in your life, okay? And it's really thinking about this. Are you showing up at the best possible, we'll call it spouse, okay, to them on a consistent basis, daily, weekly, monthly. And this is not just your actual spouse if you're married. This could be your parents. This could be your friends. This could be your family. This could be your kids. The relationships are most important. The marriage just helps you kind of remember relationships. That's all it is, all right? So are you showing up, okay? And then cutting out those who sap your energy. Now, I'll give you some examples of things I do, all right? I'm married with one kid, and there's certain things that I do to show them that they're really important to me and that I love them. And most of these were uncovered because I wasn't doing these, all right? Like the feedback loop was tight. Like if your spouse complains about you, that's a sign, all right? Like there's micro signs. So for example, I used to work all the way through dinner, right? Maybe even through dinner, same. Did spouse complain? Yeah? They're like, what's wrong with you? I want to spend time with you. Or you're at dinner, you're on your phone. It's vibrating, like, hold on, really quick. It might be this person, right? 100% guilty. I come home, like I literally been traveling all week. I'm in the garage. I've been gone for 3 days, not being present, not being a good dad. It's 8 p.m. I'm on a call walking in the house. Kids trying to come up to me. I'm like, let me go to my office. I need to like do this, right? Those are all examples of things that there's a feedback loop. So now this is what I do. I shut off work at 5 or 6. Done. Close it. Done or not, I'm done with the family, okay? And I spend time with them. Dinner together, present, no phones. We used to have a box for phones.
Yeah, I do.
Very powerful.
When my kids,
yeah.
And anyone that has kids,
yeah.
When their friends come over, they have the phone box.
Oh, see, I love that. Brilliant.
It all out, and anytime we're on a sports and there's dinner, everyone's like, "Oh, your mom's gonna take our phones." But you know what is hilarious? They go and they have so much fun. They're like kids.
That's right.
And it's so nice. If you
I love that.
implement anything, you're gonna see a huge change in your kids. Now
yeah.
they come in and just everyone puts them on the counter.
Good habits.
Right?
Good habit, right? Dinner together and present. No, we don't do no TV, no screens, nothing. Present. Time after dinner together. We hang out together. I get to do school drop-off, pick up 50% of the week. This is really important to me because I wasn't able to do before. I would travel all the time. I just couldn't be present. Just couldn't do it. I go to 100% of school events. 100%, every single one. Now, granted, I only have one kid, right? I do all sporting events, but I show every single one. We take 3 to 4 vacations a year. So we're fortunate to have that type of luxury. We take vacations every single 3 or 4 minimum, and we go on tons of weekend getaways. I FaceTime my parents every Friday. Right? My parents kept saying, hey, why don't you call me? I FaceTime every single Friday and I visit them every 30 to 60 days, right? Like I broke it down. Like it sounds morbid, but I know I probably have about 60 visits left in their lives.
Yeah.
So when you think of it that way versus years, it's not 10 years. I'm like, I probably have 60 visits. If I'm lucky. God forbid something doesn't happen, right? I keep tidy. I cook 6 days a week. I do family laundry. I shower. I use deodorants, right? I put the toilet seat down. It seems so micro, but those are the type of things and habits that can really help actually a relationship, right?
I put coffee
Yeah.
out for my wife, creamer,
Mm-hmm.
and I make
Yes.
sure it's not cold. So it sits, because I wake up early, so she has room temperature creamer
See?
with a cup, a mug. Every day, she's so happy just from that.
It's such a little thing, right? My point is doing daily things, right, that feed, let's call it the marriage. It doesn't have to be a spouse, by the way. It could be friends. Okay, wrapping this up? Okay. Intentional design and, yep, okay. All right, so should I just wrap up now or do you want me to keep going?
No, when I finish, I'm just finish the last M, but
All right.
we gotta eat too. We gotta.
All right, okay. Sorry, I'm a machine. I'll keep going. All right, cool. All right, last M, money, okay? Right, once you get rid of money problems, you're just left with problems that money can't solve.
Show me the money.
Show me the money, okay? And I understand, like, one detached from the outcome, but here's the reality. When you don't have to worry about money, it's a little bit less stressful, a little bit easier. 100%, right? Like, I love money. I'm not afraid to say that. Because I know money is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. Right? Because I utilize it, yes.
It's a master.
So that's dangerous. We can talk in the breaks. I'll kind of walk through, but it's like you have to. Otherwise, you become a slave to it, okay? Okay, so this is most core. This is about doing the right things daily, consistently, every single day that will either generate you income now or in the future, all right? Ian calls them what? RGAs, right? Good students. All right. I call them IPAs, income producing activities, same type of thing, right? And like Tamara said, not every task is the same, okay? $1,000 hour task is something like you're having a boardroom conversation with the CEO. You putting together a pretty slide deck adjusting fonts, $10 hour task. And every time you do a $10 hour task, you're costing yourself $1,000. So you have to audit your calendar that way, okay? So you want to think about, are you doing the right RGs and IPAs, okay? And by the way, this is beyond just that. This is actually about running your personal finances like a business, all right? So, and building long-term wealth. Let me give you some examples of things I do, all right? And by the way, I did this even before I had my own business. It's kind of crazy, but I'll tell you anyways. You don't have to do this all. So now every day I review cash flow, bank accounts, credit card expenses, and business KPIs every single day. I don't memorize, I just look at it. I just need to make sure we're up and to the right, okay? And if we're going down, why? I need to uncover that, okay? I invest every Friday. I don't schedule, I manually do it. I want to see where that money is going to make sure I'm at a dollar cost average, right? Every Friday. I have regular reviews with my accountant to discuss and implement tax reduction strategies. Your biggest costs in life are opportunity costs and regret. The third, taxes, okay?
I like that.
It's true. I track my net worth monthly. Okay? I track assets minus liabilities. I've been doing this since 2014. Google Sheets. Some people use tools. I'm Google Sheets, yes.
Do you consider your primary home in asset or liability?
So it depends. I take the actual value and I minus out my debt on it. So I take the net.
I asked, like the rich dad, poor dad
Yeah.
thing, if it doesn't make you money, it's
Yeah.
a liability.
So-
I was just curious the context.
But here's the thing. It's the same concept, whether you want to include it or not. It's a habit, right? So for some people, if that's how you're thinking, then don't include that. But I know I got that debt I got to pay still, right? So I want to see the trend, right? Whether it's house value or everything else, right? So like, I'm pretty blessed. I feel very fortunate. I went from literally completely broke, almost getting fired from sales, by 30 at $1 million net worth. Assets minus liabilities. It wasn't by accident. It was by intentional design of doing stuff like the M5 consistently and having a tight feedback loop, right? And the cool part is it's exponential, as Ian and I have talked about. Like, you gotta make big money. You gotta be good with the money. You gotta invest in opportunity vehicles, etc. Okay? I invest in the assets that generate more income. So, coaching programs, stuff for the business, right? 2 weeks ago, I bought a 6-unit rental property, right? Like, I'm doing things that's gonna help build my wealth, okay? This is a big one. I plan tomorrow today. It's in my calendar, okay, with clear time block. I literally like last half an hour, I want minimal white space. It needs to be intentional, because that next day, I know if I make a decision on the spot, it's never good. It's never good, okay? I do a Friday review and calendar audit. Every Friday, I look at the past week. What gave me energy, what drained my energy, what do I need to remove, what's my next week look like?
Ended Friday or beginning of Friday?
I usually end of day Friday, because that's low energy and that doesn't require a lot of willpower. I need my highest leverage stuff in the morning, right? It's crazy, because then you look at Monday like, oh shit, like I got all this white space. What am I gonna do Monday? And if you wait till Sunday, you get that Sunday-itis. All right? Doesn't feel good. Oh, what does this week look like? You're like, oh my God, I didn't prepare this, I didn't do that, etc. This allows you to be strategic with the timing, right? Okay, now let's put it all together. How do you make it a habit? All right, you take all those things I mentioned so far. Okay, I'm just gonna go like this to save a little time. What I don't want you to do is try to change everything. Okay, let's say if you could pick one for each thing, one thing for each M5, and what you do is you put it into your calendar. Okay, you just put it right into your calendar. Where is it gonna be? So this should be daily, but they just time blocks. Let's call it like 6. This is like 10 p.m. Whatever it's gonna be, you plug it in for each component. Make it a habit. Like you're gonna have dinner with family, put it in your calendar. It sounds crazy, but like I'm telling you, like you need to force the intention. If you don't force the intention, you become reactionary to your life. And oftentimes, what happens is it's never one big thing that makes us like lose control of our lives. It's thousands of little things. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what it is. And before you know it, you're not happy with your energy level. You're not happy with your finances. Your relationships are down the toilet. It's about the daily stuff. You add in whatever it's going to be. You just plug it in. All right. You plug it in. Okay. Okay. At least one thing. You plug it in. If you want to get super crazy, you track your M5 every day how you show up. So I have a tracker. I track my M5. I actually have all my aura stats in there. I track it. I have measurements, and I put notes. So I have a tight feedback loop on what's going on in life. So I can make pivots and changes because I'm not perfect. All right.
How do you track that?
Super simple. So literally it's a Google sheet. I have like M5 each bucket. I have like all my sleep stuff, activity stuff. I have some stuff like clean diet or not. A question?
Would you be willing to share it?
Yeah, I can show it. Yeah, I can show it. Yeah, I can share it. Yeah.
I think a lot of us would love to
yeah. And then you just like, it's a 1 to 100 scale. So like.
I can share it out with people here inside.
Cool. So you just plug it in. How do I show up? So it's kind of similar to the scorecard for the 12-week year that you guys have. I do a modification of 12-week year plus EOS, entrepreneur. It's the same type of system. And I have tracking systems like this where I can look every day and it color codes for me. So I know, oh man, another yellow. There's sleep stuff. I'm like, what did I do? How did I show up? And by the way, if it's M5 stuff, I never give myself 100. And it's not about an outcome. It's about the process now. For me, it's focusing on the process. Okay.
How long does that take you though?
Update the tracker? A minute. I mean, it's like. Oh yeah, okay. It took me like at least 20 minutes to build the tracker. You know. And then like now it's like updating's easy, right? Okay. So discipline equals freedom. Blah blah blah. Okay. And by the way, some of you, I need to deal with the objection before it happens. This is how good salespeople do it, right? Some of you are gonna be like, that's too rigid. My spouse won't like that. They will not like that. Who thought that? Come on. That's fine, okay? That's fine. Here's the reality. You don't need to change all at once, okay? You don't change it once, right? Now, I took a look. I'm pretty fortunate. I know my wife for 21 years, okay? I've been together for 17, married for 14 years, okay? Based on my mortality clock, I know I have 39 years, 9 months, and 4 days left on this earth, okay? Based on the average death of a male, okay? I like to be with her the rest of this time, That's my goal, right? I want to be with her, right? So I'm willing to do these things to give us a fighting chance. This helps us become better. But I'm not going to change everything for her. I'm going to do stuff for me first, right? And the cool part is you start doing some of these things, what's your spouse going to start thinking? Wow. Ian, you're looking sexier. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I'm feeling, your vibe is like bringing me in, baby. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm feeling it, right? Yeah. All right, you're like, you're right. I'm just saying, like, so you don't need to change everything, right? But the reality is the better you show up for the M5, the better you're going to be able to serve her or him as well, right? So this is how you hack yourself to a better future. So, all right, I don't think we have time for questions, but that's my presentation, the M5. All right.